It's okay to dislike Final Fantasy 16. If you just needed someone to come out and tell you that, then you're welcome. Hi, it's me, Ame. Grim gave me full reign on this one, and oh boy, he shouldn't have. A bit about me. I've only played the following Final Fantasies, so if you feel like my opinion doesn't matter, okay. That said, I put a lot of time in 16. I beat all the optional bosses, did all the side quests, beat the game, and I do think there's a lot of good here. The MC, Clive's great. He's definitely not going to be anyone's favorite protagonist like Cloud or Titus, but he's better than some of the worst ones like Lightning and Squall. He's like a perfect middle road. If anything, my biggest issue is how go with the flow he is. He rarely has any urgency and is usually told what to do or where to go next by other members of the party. Oh right, the party. It doesn't exist, and not just because a good majority of the game is Clive hanging out with his good boy. There are actual party members that are traded in and out as they accompany Clive on his journey, and frankly, almost none of them are interesting. Almost because Sid is the best thing to ever grace this side of gaming, but he is without question the exception. The other party members you get are as interesting as a piece of wood on the beach. You'll wonder how it got there, but also you don't really care. And it only feels worse when you realize you can't control them, but you can control Torgal for some reason. At least Noctis had the boys, and although you couldn't play as them at first, I could still tell you all about them, but not even your clique outside the party isn't that interesting. Clive has, I remember the blacksmith, I guess, which is wild since every person in his life has these hour-long quests tied to them. And when you find out things like Charon being
redacted
or Quentin preparing to
redacted,
and don't even get me started about
redacted,
the party in this game is a miss. Man, it's not just the party. Can we talk about the villains? I do think the villains are good. Great even. Final Fantasy is a series filled with great villains. Kefka from 6, Sephiroth from 7. Even the MMOs are no exception with villains like Xenos. But now ask yourself, who's the big iconic villain for 16? There's only maybe 4 names you could have came up with, and frankly none of them hold a candle to past villains. There is no Kefka poisoning the river type moment with any villain in this game. Let's talk about the villain you probably picked. There's 2 options you could have picked for most personal. One you beat before the halfway point in the game, and the other kind of deals with himself. There is the big obvious threat, but let me ask you this. What have they done to the MC personally? Sephiroth killed Aerith. What has this villain done to Clive personally? I do feel like everything we talked about so far is up to interpretation. You may think the villains are incredible. Maybe you think the characters that accompany Clive and the ones he meets are the greatest written characters of all time. Maybe you think Torgal's a bad boy. You're wrong about that last part. But how about we talk about the things that are undeniably a bit of a miss in this game? The combat. 16 combat is lacking. Your bread and butter combo is square, 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 square. When you get a bit more advanced, it becomes square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle. Until you're about 8 to 10 hours into the game when you finally get a second summon. Your only mix-ups in combat comes from story progression. That's bad. That's very, very, very bad. Combat becomes monotonous because you're doing the same thing for dozens of hours, waiting for the story to give you more to play with. It's not like the abilities give you much. When I first started playing, I assumed every summon would expand the combo menu, but it doesn't. Instead, you get your choice of 2 out of 4 cooldowns to weave between your square triangles, before you say something silly like, but the Lord Consider a few things they could have done. Why couldn't the weapons we unlock change your combos? Why couldn't the magic burst do something different with each summon you use? Why couldn't each summon permanently unlock additional combos? Why is every summon just 4 cooldowns? When you start to think about it like that and compare it to other games like Bayonetta or DMC, it starts to make everything feel half-baked. And with the non-existent RPG elements, it makes you start to wish you had a game that doubled down on the RPG, or minimal a shorter game that doubled down on the action combat. Gear and loot is trash in this game. 3 gear slots, 3 accessory slots. Let's get the accessory slots out the way first. It's hilariously bad. Timely gear is meant to help with accessibility, right? But instead of being something in the options for people to turn on like every other game, you instead have to choose your handicap. Pick only what you absolutely need, or limiting your remaining slots for real gear. But let's say you're an action game Giga Chad like me, and you don't play with timely gear on. It still doesn't matter because the other accessories suck. Reduce cooldown by 2 seconds, increase attack by 7. Limit break feels 3% faster. It's like Square looked at my least favorite types of loot and built a whole system around it. I don't want non-existent stat buffs. I want things that actually change up how I play. Something Square clearly realized because the Berserker ring exists in the game and it's an early game item. Speaking of min-maxing, nothing matters on the rest of your gear but numbers. Sword does 5 more damage? Then use sword. Bracelet has 2 more defense and health? Then use bracelets. There's nothing else to it than just what's better. Even Final Fantasy 1 had weapons that deal more damage to specific enemies, but nothing like that's here. You're thinking, that's fine because I still can find gear in the world, right? Nope, at least not swords. After every big mission, you go to the blacksmith and grab the current best thing he has. The game even gives you the materials to make the best gear every time. Even the one time I didn't have enough of material, the shopkeeper next to him just sold the materials I was missing. Nomura, what? Oh, wait, it's not Nomura. There's other issues too. The open world sucks. There's no reason to explore it and all the chests just have crafting materials. The enemies, you fight the same handful of enemies throughout the entire game. I almost finished the bestiary in the first couple hours. The game is easy. My only death in the entire game came from fighting a level 50 optional boss at level 30. The list just kind of goes on and on. It's okay to dislike Final Fantasy 16, but I actually really like it. The combat hurts me because I've seen it done better in so many other games. And the same can be said about the RPG stuff, which I've seen done better in other Final Fantasy games. But the boss fights here